Also being able to engage with mentoring opportunities, whether that be with faculty or with students, upper class students. We also take the time to ensure that students are developing professionally and providing them with leadership opportunities. Our students, they do receive priority registration. And then we also take them on a various amount of cultural enrichment experiences. We know that high impact practices consist of cultural enrichment experiences. And I will touch on one specifically that is definitely a highlight for TRIO Student Support Services. We do provide scholarships for eligible students. We know that income and finances are definitely one of the hardships for first generation students. And so we do provide some form of direct aid where we're able to subsidize some of the tuition costs for first generation students. Students are able to receive financial and economic literacy, and they're also able to receive career and graduate school preparation as well. So these are, again, all of the program services specifically for TRIO Student Support Services. So if you have students in your classes, or if you're advising students who identify as first generation student, please be sure to share this resource with them and letting them know that we do have support on campus that is available for them, that will walk alongside with them, helping to ensure that they are well connected and well supported as they transition from high school or from community college. Yes? Some students will tell you without faculty or staff initiating that conversation, but from my experience, students really do appreciate when they are able to hear from staff and faculty that they identify as first generation student or that they understand the needs of first generation students. So one event that I definitely want to highlight in terms of our cultural enrichment experiences is Israel. And so last year we had the opportunity of partnering with the Philos Bible College in addition with our graduate seminary department and with CGLE Center for Global Learning and Enrichment. And we were able to take both undergraduate and graduate students to Israel for about a 10-day experience. And again, most of these students did not own a passport. They could not afford to purchase a plane ticket. But in addition to going to the trip, they were also able to take a 3-unit course free of charge. That was, I believe it was UBBL 350, if I'm not mistaken. They were able to take a course in addition with going over to visit Israel, along with some graduate students. So we took about over 20 undergraduate students, and all of these students identify as first generation, okay? So some of these students, they have never left the state, let alone the country. So this was definitely once in a lifetime experience for many of their students to explore their faith, to explore what it means to be called a Christian, and to explore their walk with the Lord. And this was the prime opportunity to do this in the Holy Land. Now, this is not a funded experience, Israel specifically. This is something that the institution has invested in TRIO, specifically the first generation students. And so we are definitely grateful for this experience, and students, after coming back, listening to their stories of the impact of this experience, students are now considering changing their major to biblical studies. They're actually interested in doing service learning activities, and they just have a greater appreciation for what it means to attend here at APU. They have developed a greater sense of connection and belonging, and it's just a great experience for many of our students. So some of the unique characteristics about our program. So as I indicated before, we are funded to serve 140 students. Again, the majority of our students are female, and 73% of our students identify as Hispanic or Latino. The average GPA for all of our students in TRIO is a 3.1, okay? And our top majors, top 5 majors, as you see listed above: applied exercise science, social work, allied health, psychology, and biology. The majority of our students major in these top majors here. So again, as you can see, the breakdown of classification of the 140, but again, most of our students identify as female, and 73% identify as Hispanic or Latino. Characteristics of first-generation students. We know that there is a lot of literature that really expounds upon the characteristics of first-generation students, those who are transitioning to higher education, and the impact that it has on students, as students are not able to adjust successfully, as they are battling with obligations at home, and they're not able to manage their time efficiently. But it's really, really important that as staff and faculty that we walk alongside students and we assure students that they are not alone. Students appreciate when they know that they are not alone and they have someone to support them, and when they have others that could also understand their characteristics and their unique needs. So being able to validate students' common interests and being able to validate students' struggles. So being able to understand that many of our students, they work part-time, if not full-time. Many of our students may also have families, they may be married, and they may have other obligations outside of the classroom, which would definitely impact their success. So being conscious of those things will have a greater impact on students being able to express whether or not they are first generation. And here is just a clip that I like to show. One of the faculty members who was expressing the significance of serving as a mentor.
With an essay. Novelist Janine Capo-Bissett grew up in Miami and attended Cornell University in upstate New York. In addition to adjusting to the cold, Janine learned to navigate campus as a first-generation college student. Tonight, she shares thoughts on why colleges need to do better at welcoming students like her.
It took me going away to college to learn that by doing so, I'd become something called a first-generation college student. This means I was the first in my family to go to college, but it also meant I had no idea how much I didn't know. For instance, my family stuck around for all of freshman orientation because the paperwork about move-in day didn't explicitly state when they should leave. So we assumed they needed to be there the whole week. Long after other families had taken off, mine was still following me around as I registered for classes or during the school-mandated swim test. I was glad to have them there, but it did make for some awkward meals in the dining hall. Aside from going to class, I had no roadmap for what I was supposed to do as a newly minted college student. I navigated those first weeks by carefully watching what I thought of as real students, those whose parents had gone to college, who'd gotten a lifelong rundown of what was in store. That's how I knew to wear flip-flops in the shower, or take notes in class, or that the visits to the writing center were covered by tuition. But there was still a lot I couldn't figure out this way. For instance, I dropped a class after realizing the textbooks would cost a couple $100s. By the time I learned that professors also put books on course reserve, it was too late to add it back that semester. Or like when my professor kept saying, "See me in office hours," as if we all knew what that meant. But it took a bad grade on a paper for him to explain to me what office hours were, that he was just waiting around in one place, ready to answer all my questions. What could my college have done to show me how much I needed to know without making me feel dumb or out of my league in the process? This is where well-meaning administrators usually start throwing around the word mentorship. But too many colleges still think of mentoring as just meetings between two people, one who knows some stuff and another who doesn't yet know that stuff. Technically, I had a mentor my first year of college, but when I finally met him, he didn't seem to understand how confused I was, in part because he came from a long line of college-going folks. He didn't know how much I didn't know either. Formal mentors, like the one my college assigned me, need to be first-generation college students themselves, or have been trained by people intimately familiar with the challenges students like me faced. They need to do more than send us concerned emails. They need to knock on our literal doors. And they should be compensated for their work as mentors, not asked to volunteer or serve out of some sense of obligation to help out a past version of themselves. They need to be concretely valued for the resource they are, for the unique survival skills they bring to campus. I know I work as a novelist and, believe it or not, a professor. Whenever I'm in front of a group of new readers or students, I ask those who identify as first-generation college people to raise their hands. I then congratulate them. I tell them how much it means to me to meet them. And I tell them that I'm one of them. But later, after whatever talk or lecture I've given, there's almost always someone who comes up to me and admits they didn't raise their hand because they didn't know being a first-generation college student was a fact they could be proud of. Only then do I admit to them something I know that they don't. When I was in their place, I wouldn't have raised my hand either.
You can find more of our essays on our website at pbs.org/newshour/essays. We close with an essay.
Okay. So what's your impression after you have heard from this professor on the significance of mentoring first-generation college students? Any thoughts?
First question for me is, do we have a formal mentorship program here?
Not officially. For first-generation students, no. But it is definitely being proposed on the undergraduate enrollment. One of our action plans is definitely being proposed. Any other thoughts? Yes.
What I like is just that it brings to light the really looking at the term mentorship and what that means, and putting that forward for for students and for faculty and staff to think about: is it what the frequency or the quality of those conversations are, and to kind of let go of some assumptions.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a hierarchical relationship or so forth, but it could be, it takes so many different shapes, but it's a new experience in terms of students, nothing scary.
Right. Thank you. Yes.
Do our first students need to know things like office hours?
Absolutely.
That kind of seems that they're just not getting that in high school then at all, or?
No.
That was a little stunning to me that they wouldn't have that basic information.
Yeah.
It's good to know that.
Piggybacking off of that, they don't know what they don't know.
Mhm.
And those of us who are not first generation students ourselves, we don't know what they don't know.
Mhm.
And so recognizing that gap and trying to figure out how someone like you and Trio can help shore that, that disparity.
Yes, thank you.
Are there any resources online or just, a list of what first generation college students have said, hey, I didn't know this, I wish somebody had told me this, that we can have to sort of be more aware of those kinds of things that we need to be explicit about? Because I had thought of the office hour, but, I don't know what I'm assuming my students sort of know really about college.
Yeah, so there is definitely lots of literature that is out there, and I don't have it readily available now, but I can definitely share that information with you. That is definitely feasible, applicable for faculty in terms of mentoring. So those of you who are mentoring or who aspire to mentor first generation students, it will definitely show some of the benefits and how to navigate that transition. Yes.
The concept that she brought up, you really have to go out and knock on the door.
Mm-hmm.
It's not enough just to say, here are the resources.
Right.
We have to go and get them and take them.
Mm-hmm.
And to some extent, I
Mm-hmm.
to reach out and pull them along until they have enough strength and knowledge to know that this is what's available and it's okay.
Right. And that's actually one of the points that I like to make is that a lot of our students, specifically first generation students, they will not, or they are very reluctant to ask for help because it is viewed as, it's not viewed as empowering, but it's viewed with a negative connotation. And so being able to assume that students will come to office hours or assume that they didn't understand something in class, they won't ask. So being able to open up the classroom or create spaces during office hours or in the classroom where students feel comfortable to express information that they did not understand, and so it won't single them out or it won't make them feel that they're less than. But again, students very rarely will take the initiative to ask for help. So a lot of times they don't know what resources are available, and if they do know what resources are available, 9 times out of 10, they don't know that it's free. So it's an additional cost, or they assume that because I'm taking or I'm going to the tutoring center, I'm going to the writing center, that there's something wrong with me, that I'm coming from a disadvantaged background, that I'm taking remedial courses, or I need developing. You know, these are terms that first generation students, they don't feel a pride in being able to identify as first gen, knowing that these terms are, these terms create a stigma for them. Thank you for your feedback. Yes, Susie.
That almost a quarter of our undergrads are first-gen students. I think this should be part of the new faculty development training, as well as for those of us who've been around. This is critical information faculty need to know.
Excellent. Thank you. Any more thoughts? Okay. Yes?
When we look at the retention rate, among those who don't persevere in the course, what's the percentage of first gen as compared to non-gen? I don't know if the statistic that you showed was for the college as a whole or just among, well, maybe it was, that was something.
Yeah, right. So it shows both first gen and for non-first gen students. Yes. So something I definitely want to share as we're speaking about mentoring. At the end of the year, we complete exit surveys with all of our seniors. And this is both qualitative and quantitative data. And one of the seniors indicated this, and I thought it was very befitting. I wanted to share this particular quote. She indicated, being a first generation college student has not been an easy transition to navigate, but I appreciate the relationships I have established with my faculty. My experience at APU will never be forgotten, as the relationships and interactions with faculty were transformative and rewarding. Wow. Wow. So we can definitely see the impact of faculty here. And we know that students will not immediately develop a sense of belonging by being engaged in one program, but it's definitely an institutional approach, okay? So it's definitely becoming from peers, from staff, and from faculty, where students really develop this holistic student approach for wellness and even for well-being. And so again, we can see that this student, they definitely struggle with the transition being here at APU. But I can assure you that it could have been maybe taking a student out for coffee, staying an extra 10 minutes after class, just to check in with the student, really showing that we care, really taking the time to make that space an opportunity for students to express their concerns, or really make ourselves available to have students know that I'm here for you, you're not alone. How can I support? How can I assist you? How can I partner with you to ensure that you receive all the success and support that you need? And here's one more. When I first arrived at APU, I felt like I didn't belong. And I was ashamed that my family had not gone to college. But after speaking with my professor, I know, sorry, it should be I now. I now have a great appreciation and understanding of being a first generation student. This student, she shared with me that she was ashamed to say that she was a first generation student. But when her faculty shared their experience of going to, I believe it was UC Berkeley, and they too were a first generation student, that immediately just encouraged her to come out and say, you know what, I'm a first generation student. And I'm sorry I didn't raise my hand in class when you initially asked who identified as first gen student. But now that I see that we have a common interest, I now see that I'm not as intimidated to approach you. I now see that I'm not as intimidated or even scared. But this was a great just indicator that when faculty play a tremendous role with students developing, again, a sense of belonging and helping students transition and just really ensuring that they receive all the support that they need. So I thought these two quotes were really significant, again, just to share as we're speaking about the significance of faculty and the importance of mentoring first generation students. So what are the benefits of mentoring, faculty mentoring? Well, it definitely does minimize the transfer shock. So we know as students transition to higher education, this is a new territory, new experience for them. And so they're looking for someone to just partner with. They're looking for people that look like them, that sound like them, that can relate to some of their struggles. Excuse me. And these are definitely one of definitely the benefits of partnering with faculty. And knowing that when faculty make an investment, make a partnership, make a commitment with students long term, this is a great reward for students to be able to explore their strengths and being able to explore and understand power and cultural capital. We know that many of our first generation students, they don't understand social capital, but that is significant. Again, as I mentioned earlier, developing one's office space just to create this space to be a safe place to where students feel empowered, where they feel comfortable being able to share some of their struggles or being able to even share some of their success stories. And lastly, being able to just empower students, being able to, again, share with them that they have everything what they need in order to be successful. It is, again, our job to help students find all of their giftings and their talents and to develop their self-efficacy. And lastly, but not least, summarizing, again, support from faculty. Faculty serve as advocates, advocating for first-generation students, being able to connect with them and ensuring that they are well connected and well plugged in on campus. So if students need additional support, or if a student if a student expresses that they are first-generation student or they require academic advising, being sure that we know where to lead the student. We may not know all the answers. That's okay. And students don't expect for us to know all the answers, but at least we can assure them to say, I may not know the answer, but I can assure you that I can find it with you. I can assure you that I can find the people and the resources in charge to ensure that you receive the support that you need. And lastly, celebrate. Celebrate with students. Celebrate their successes. Celebrate their achievements. Celebrate their accomplishments. And this isn't just on graduation. This is throughout the academic year. So celebrating those small milestones that if a student, whatever it may be, but being able to know that students know that we are paying attention, that we are definitely looking and we understand that there are definitely a lot of challenges that they face, but yet and still that we are in a position to celebrate their success. And those are all of my slides for today. Are there any questions? Yes.
The numbers showed freshmen and sophomores were about the same that stayed, and then it dropped off at junior and senior, and the program is still young. Do you know if they drop out after a couple of years, do they feel comfortable, or is there any research on that yet?
For the TRIO program?
Yeah, because you had mostly freshmen and sophomores, and then fewer juniors, and then
Mhm.
seniors. And so I'm just wondering, at some point, if they feel comfortable enough that they don't come anymore, like the juniors and seniors.
So once a student enrolls in TRIO, they're with us for life, essentially. So at least for the 5 years of the grant. So as students graduate, then we're able to recruit freshmen. So freshmen and sophomore, they do make up the bulk of the student population, but juniors and seniors, we do recruit juniors and seniors, but this actually, spring 2017, was our first graduating cohort. So we had 22 seniors to graduate this spring. Yes.
What sort of overlap do you have, do we see between first generation students and commuter students? But also first generation and student athletes? And so where might they be getting support perhaps elsewhere, and how does that overlap affect a lot of the things that you're talking about? So I think our commuter students might not be first gen, but our commuters who aren't as integrated into the community are balancing full-time work, are
Yes.
balancing, how much of that is actually the same community?
You know, it's very interesting that you say that, because many of our first generation students, they don't live on campus, and they will treat the institution as if it's community college or as if they are a commuter student. And so it's very hard for them to engage. Okay, so many resources and activities and initiatives that we have on campus, it's not that they may not know about it, they just choose not to get involved. Because again, they're either working, they have outside commitments, or they just have other obligations. But many of our students do commute. Many of our first gen students, they commute, and it takes a toll on them. Yes, Dr. Schreiner.
So I want to follow up on that, because my doctoral students have been doing research on students and interviewing them at APU, and that's a very small sample, and you've got the bigger picture. But what we hear from the commuters that we've talked to is not that they have other obligations. What they'll say is everything at APU is scheduled at night, and that during the day, when I have large blocks of time between classes, I have nowhere to go because everybody else goes to their rooms. I have no place to be, and there aren't any activities. So I wondered if we're looking systemically at how we are supporting not just our first year, but our commuters in general, since I think they're not a large population.
Right.
But at least among first years, I think they are very large.
Right.
But what are we doing structurally or systemically?
You know, Dr. Schreiner, thank you. And I'm excited to hear that your students are doing research with first gen students. You know, in terms of commuting students, and to follow up with that, a lot of our students, when you think about even our student support services, such as example, One Stop, well, the hours close at 5 o'clock. So a lot of our students, when they're looking to come and they're looking to receive support for financial aid or to have students support, help them with registering for classes, no one's there to support them because the office, does close at 5 o'clock. So again, if we're going to provide support for commuter students, for first gen students, even for student athletes, we have to meet them where they are. And so again, it's providing additional resources, providing even if it's extending our hours where we're able to help students, partnering with them to ensure they're enrolled in the appropriate classes or to help navigate them with figuring out their FAFSA form. A lot of students that's a very tedious process. Yes, exactly. Thank you. Very tedious process, and a lot of our students, they don't know how to navigate that. But of course, we do have specialists who are able to partner with them and to support them as they complete the FAFSA and et cetera. So, yeah. So yeah.
I'm looking at Vicki and saying, okay, you're having these high-level conversations about how we are structured as a university, given that our student population is changing pretty dramatically.
Part of the enrollment management council is all about right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Dealing with those issues.
Question. It's actually kind of twofold. So, over the course of the grant, have you been able to see an impact on retention rate based on TRIO? And then, kind of secondary follow-up question. You listed a whole host of really exciting services that TRIO provides. What would you say is the service primarily utilized by the TRIO students?
Definitely the academic success coaching. Academic success coaching, tutoring, and then mentoring. Yes. And you had a first question.
Yeah, so from like the baseline when you started TRIO, looking at retention rates, and now where you're at, and you're sort of partway through in like the first graduating cohort, have you seen an impact on retention rate with first-gen students?
So we will actually look at the data again at the end of the 5 years. So the grant is for 5 years. And so when it's time to rewrite the grant, we'll be able to look at the retention rate. Sorry. Yes. Any other questions?
Your program?
No.
So that's something else.
Is it?
It?
Oh, Pathway Scholars.
Yeah.
Pathway Scholars. I'm pretty sure.
Now, do they work with you?
Some of the Pathway Scholars are TRIO students. Yes. Yes, I believe so. And they also identify as first generation as well. Yes. Okay. Okay, well, at this time, I'm going to ask if you can take a moment to complete the evaluation forms. And at this time, we do have a raffle. Sure.
What are you giving away?
Closing the opportunity gap. Okay. So the number, it's 459551. Oh. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.